Welcome everyone. Welcome to our new moon restorative sadhana. And as you're settling yourself in, I'd like us to begin in a comfortable seated position. So we'll be sitting perhaps on a folded blanket or on a pillow, allowing your spine to grow nice and long and tall. Allow the shoulders to relax back and down. Just allow yourself to settle into a position of stillness. So we're beginning the practice with just a few moments of centering, allowing your eyes to close down, beginning to welcome a feeling of connection with your breath and with yourself. Welcoming the feeling of breathing in and out, the gentle touch of the air at the nostrils, the rise and fall of the belly and the chest. Smoothing out the edges of the inhalation and the exhalation. And feeling yourself dropping into presence, landing here. And as you're arriving at home here in yourself, settling into your center, as we begin this restorative yoga training here on the new moon, we have the opportunity to really plant seeds of intention within ourselves, to start fresh. So just for the next few breaths, I invite you to welcome the feeling of intention in your own heart, with the opportunity to begin anew. What is your intention? This may be an intention for this practice tonight. It may be an intention for this training. It may be sort of an overarching dharma or feeling of calling in your own life. Knowing that every lunar cycle we have this opportunity to begin again, to reconnect with our own truth and authenticity. And the yogis, the mystics in the yoga tradition and in Ayurveda have considered this time of the new moon, Amavasya, to be a time when the veils are the thinnest. Those veils meaning layers of conditioning from our life experience, samsaras, and even lifetimes of patterns and belief systems and even layers of personality, that when the moon is new, it's like we have a more easy access to our inner essence and to our inner truth. We're less shrouded by those layers of our samskaras and of our layers of conditioning. So just as you're taking these next few breaths to consider your intention, also consider that you are tonight and for the next few days as the moon is new, sort of it's like the most clearest line of connection to your innermost essence and your authentic nature. The veils are the thinnest, so welcome whatever is coming through from within. And it's holding this feeling of your inner essence that I'd like us to have our little candle lighting moment. So you might let your eyes flutter open and reach for the candle that you have, or if you don't have a candle tonight, then you might just imagine a candle's flame throughout your practice. And for those of us who do have a candle, I'll just invite you to light it, or even if it's already lit, just to take it in your hands for a moment, or bring your gaze towards it. So you can just take a few breaths to welcome your intention as this light, as this flame. That intention being an expression of your essence, of your truth and your authentic nature. And you can bring your candle just wherever you'd like it to be, as a way of having a sort of altar space in your practice tonight. Take a few moments to just bring your gaze softly towards the candle's flame. Taking just 3 to 5 breaths here with soft eyes towards the light. And then let your hands come onto your heart center, one hand on your heart and the other hand on top of that hand. Turning your gaze inward as your eyes close down, and welcome the inner light of this candle's flame in your mind's eye, warming your inner self. And let's join our voices in the sound of Om together just one time. Taking a deep breath in. Om. And a little bow of your head to your heart, of your third eye to your heart's wisdom. And letting your hands relax down, and we'll be making just a gentle transition into Shavasana. So Shavasana is the corpse pose and really one of the most important postures in the practice of yoga itself. And in restorative yoga, Shavasana is like the foundation of every posture. So I'd like us to take a moment to set up for a really cozy Shavasana. So you can take a bolster or a pillow or two to place under the knees, a folded blanket or a cushion under your head. There's a nice little trick as well for a folded blanket under your head. If you make a little extra fold just at the bottom of your blanket, you can tuck it right underneath the base of the skull, and it creates a little bit of extra support there. So I'll encourage you to try that if you'd like. Know that you might have a covering over your eyes as well. And take your time to rest down into a comfortable stillness. Laying on the back, if that's comfortable for you tonight, knowing you can always choose another position if you need. Tucking your bolster up nice and close to your thighs so your feet can still land upon the earth. The arms at your sides, perhaps the palms facing up to receive, or the hands on the body. And letting your eyes close down. You might take a few moments to invite in just the most subtle micro movements, like a little wiggle of the shoulder blades in towards the spine, a smoothing out of the lower back, making sure the head feels supported, maybe adjusting the little roll underneath the base of the skull if you need. And beginning to settle into stillness, welcoming the earth beneath you to hold you. Noticing the points of contact that your back body shares with the earth. Just letting yourself soften and let go into this contact. Noticing the air that surrounds you, letting this air also support you, the feeling of being held by your space. As you allow the breath to rise and fall, with smoothly flowing waves of inhalation and exhalation. A feeling of your inhale rising, filling from the belly to the upper lobes of the lungs. The exhale releasing, letting go the full length of your exhale. And continuing to be present with these flowing waves of breath. Allowing your thinking mind to soften and settle into the body. As we answer the call of rest tonight. As we answer the call of deep relaxation that nature invites at this time of the lunar cycle. The new moon is a time to really take refuge within stillness and rest. To let go of doing and relax into pure being. To be held within the darkness of the night, the soothing peace at the end of the exhale. So for the next few rounds of breath, I invite you to notice the cycles of the moon alive within your breath. And the cycles of nature. The inhale, birthing like the spring, like the waxing moon, like the rising sun, that blossoms towards fullness at the top of the inhale and the space, like the luminous full moon, like the peak noon and the summer season. And the turning point where that peak turns to an exhalation, like the fall season, the waning moon, the dusk before the night. And the pause at the end of your exhale, fertile void, the mystery of the night, the winter hibernation, the dark moon, the new moon. And with the inhale, life is born again. The cycle begins. And continue to feel these cycles of nature alive within your breath for the next few rounds. Knowing that just as the moon cycles, we cycle. And in this practice, we're creating space to really be with the stillness, like that pause at the end of the exhale, pregnant with the possibilities of new life, yet comfortable in the unknown, relaxing into the mystery, and then letting life return again as the inhale rises, waxes towards fullness. The exhale falls away again, leaves falling from the trees, returning to the earth. Continuing to welcome the cycle of the breath. as you welcome a feeling of relaxation to expand within you, letting every exhalation be even just a little bit longer than your inhalation. To really let yourself surrender into the stillness and into the peace that is available here. Way down into the stillness, softening the jaw, the mouth, and the tongue. Noticing the muscles of the face relax. Right eye, left eye, both eyes together, relaxed. Sense the ears, receiving sound in a relaxed way. Feel the back of the head settling into the support of the earth. No need to hold up your heavy head at this time. And this feeling of surrender flows down the neck and spreads across the shoulders as both arms relax. Hands and fingers. And sense relaxation spreading down even deeper still. Down the chest, upper back, down to the lower back and the belly, into the pelvis, and down the legs, the knees, lower legs to ankles and feet, soles of the feet, tips of the toes, all relaxing. And for the next few breaths, notice how it feels to soften even just a little bit more. Trusting that as you relax, your being is letting go of anything that needs to be released. layers of tension or stress are draining away like a flowing river. The stillness opening up within. So welcome the stillness and welcome the peace. And welcome this connection with your truest essence that is available here during Amavasya, during the new moon. Welcoming the feeling of this essence, your nature, your truth. And as you rest here, know that we'll be, in just a few moments, transitioning from this Shavasana into the next stage of our practice, trusting that we'll continue to cultivate relaxation. We'll continue to deepen relaxation. So gradually, with much care and tenderness, begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes just a little bit. There's no rush. Perhaps taking a little bit of a stretch as well. When you're ready, you might let the arms and the legs extend. Maybe some gentle circles with your wrists and your ankles. And let your knees bend. Perhaps first just letting the feet rest on a bolster or pillow, taking it slow. To then let the knees come into the chest, where you can wrap your arms around the knees or the back of your thighs and begin to gently rock a little side to side or around in a circle, letting the knees sway to massage the lower back. Feel the massage along the sides of the spine, the back of the head and the back of the shoulders. Feeling your connection with the earth element, grounding and supporting. And then let's bring one hand to each knee and begin some gentle movement explorations of the knees opening out to the sides and spinning back in together and opening back out and spinning back in and continuing round and round here. So we're exploring a little bit of pratapana, gentle movement inquiries that help prepare the body for the deeper stillness and deeper release to come. So exploring these gentle movements of the knees, helping to awaken the legs and the hips. Massage the back. And let's lift both feet up to the sky as you're ready. Lift your arms as well, resting bug pose. Begin to circle your wrists. And let that circling movement ripple down into your elbows, your knees, your shoulders, your hips. Letting the arms and legs explore the space around you, much like you are seagrass flowing in the ocean. Bringing some lubrication to the joints. Waking up the limbs in a relaxed way. Beautiful. And let's gently bend our knees again, and we'll be lowering the feet to the floor. So you might use your feet to move your bolster off to the back of your mat so your feet can land on the floor. And we'll have the knees bent and the feet walk perhaps about mat distance apart here. So you have nice wide feet. Bring your hands to your elbows or your forearms, making a little box shape above your chest. Now let your knees fall to the right as your arms move to the left. You may roll the head towards the left as well. With your inhale, come up to center and over to the other side. Knees to the left, arms to the right, head to the right. And then continue to flow from side to side here. Arms moving in the direction opposite to the knees. Head moving along with the arms. Feet nice and wide to help create a little bit of gentle stretching and awakening in the hips from side to side. Beautiful. And the next time you come to center, pause there. Release the hands down onto your belly. Walk the feet just a touch closer together as the inner knees come to touch with the feet out to the sides just a bit, making a little pyramid of support for the lower back. Take a few nourishing full yogic breaths as you inhale to feel the belly, the middle ribs, and the upper chest expanding. And exhale to let go and relax a little more. Beautiful, and we'll take our time to gently make a transition up. You may roll to one side and then come up, or you might roll up the spine, just taking your time. Wonderful, and when you come up, let's find a seated position for just a few moments, perhaps legs crossed or extended, and find a few gentle circles with your shoulders here, letting shoulders roll up and down, round and round. And let the shoulders soften back and down. We'll be moving into our next restorative pose, which is the crocodile. And we'll be actually combining it a little bit with a variation of bump on a log. So as we find our way into the pose, first you can gather the props that are needed. A bolster will be at the back of your mat, and your feet will be resting on it. Here's where your 2 blocks come in. Although if you don't have 2 blocks, you can also use 2 smaller pillows or folded blankets. And you'll also want another folded blanket or cushion at the top of your mat, and that will be for your head. Now, the blocks or cushions, whatever you have, or blankets, we have to be very creative with our props at times in restorative. They'll come down so that they're pointing inward. If you can see this, they're sort of pointing in towards each other, just underneath that head blanket. And know that you can always make little adjustments for your props to find just the right place once you're heading into the pose. But just for now, you can place them so the 2 blocks are sort of pointing in. The next step is that we should all have another blanket. And what I've done is I have a blanket folded in a nice rectangle shape here. And then I'm taking that rectangle and I'm going to roll it up. So what I end up having is sort of like a small bolster. If you have a small bolster, you're also welcome to use that. The place that this blanket will be when we're lying down on our belly will be just along the, across the hips. So just under the navel, sort of across from the hip points to the pubic bone area. So I'll just do a little demonstration. I'm gonna lie down on my belly. The tops of my feet come onto the bolster. I'm gonna tuck that a little bit closer here. And I'm going to come down to rest so that that blanket that's rolled is just underneath the lower part of the belly, sort of across the hips. Now these blocks are going to be placed just underneath the shoulders. And the blanket underneath the forehead. So I have my shoulders resting on the blocks or pillows, my forehead resting on a folded blanket, my ankles and feet resting on a bolster, and the rolled blanket just beneath the lower belly across the hips. So take your time to settle into that position, knowing that you can make any little wiggles or adjustments to find your way. The most important thing here is that you're comfortable. So if the blocks are too big, you might move them. If you have really big blocks, you might instead want to try reaching for some blankets folded or pillows instead. So remembering that the most important thing here is our comfort. And it is also possible to come into the crocodile pose with the head just on the floor and one ear to the earth. So I'll offer that as a suggestion as well. If you prefer to have the head turned to one side, you can also do that if that feels comfortable for you. So let yourself continue to rest here in this belly down position, knowing that when we turn the belly and the heart towards the earth, it sends a message of calm. Blanket across the hips, creating gentle release for hip flexors, especially the psoas muscle. There's a known direct connection between the psoas muscle and the nervous system. But when the psoas is tight, it can sort of trigger a stress response. So as we allow this gentle massage, this gentle pressure around this area of the hip flexors, welcome the feeling of moving into the relaxation response. With every long exhalation, carrying you to relax a little more, to let go even just a little bit more. And we'll rest here for just a few more breaths, noticing if you can soften even just a little bit more to feel the subtle moments of release, the subtle moments of softening, one breath at a time. As you're starting to transition, you might first just invite the possibility of movement, and then a little wiggle of your fingers and your toes. To slowly come out of this pose, I like to bring my hands onto the blocks and then gently press up. You might try that, or move the blocks or the pillows and then press yourself up. And we'll be sliding the feet off of the bolster. You can take your rolled blanket and bring it just between the hips and the heels, just like you're going to sit back as you then reach for your bolster. And we'll be coming into a supported child's pose. So I like to bring another block underneath the bolster. So one block under the bolster just like that. The knees widen around the bolster, and the belly and the chest come down to rest, with the head turning towards one side, and the arms just resting at the sides of the bolster. If you feel like you need more support here, you can always reach for a second bolster or larger pillow to bring between the hips and the heels. If there's a lot of tension in the knees and it's not comfortable for you to be sitting or bending the knees with that deep of flexion, you can also roll onto your back and hug your knees into your chest instead, or choose any other posture that's calling to you. So you can let yourself soften and let go, welcoming a feeling of relaxation, feeling of softness and stillness, letting go of the need to make anything happen, simply resting, taking refuge, moment to moment. Continue to let your breath be natural and effortless. The body knows how to breathe. So allow yourself to be breathed, just as you are. take a moment to gently turn your head to the other side. Letting your other ear come down to the bolster. Welcoming feeling of release as you settle back into stillness. And let's take just a few more breaths here. And very gently starting to lift yourself back up, taking it slow, knowing there's no rush at all. As you're lifting up, you may remove that rolled blanket or bolster from beneath your hips and heels and reach for your second block. And we'll be making an adjustment to this position so that you're looking to create a supported Shavasana, which is somewhat similar to a supported fish pose, a back bend. So you'll use two blocks, one block at the top of your mat like a capital T, and then the other block underneath that, like the bottom of the T. And you'll want the top block to be on a higher height than the bottom block. So that top block I like on a medium height, and then the lower block, like the lower part of the T. And the bolster comes on top. Wonderful opportunity here to reach for a blanket to be placed underneath the head. You'll gently spin yourself around so that your lower back is against the base of your bolster. Here's where you may reach for your second bolster or extra pillows. Sliding that underneath the knees. An option as well, if you do have extra blankets on hand, you can always tuck a blanket underneath each forearm, or extra pillows. Even bed pillows can work wonderfully for that as well. And you might take a moment to shift your pillow or your blanket underneath your head if you want to make a little bit of a roll underneath the base of the skull. That can feel really lovely. So knowing that in our restorative practice, we're looking to make sure that we're never letting our body parts dangle off of props. So if you find that the feet don't reach the floor, it can really depend on the height of your bolster or pillows, then you'll want to bring extra props under the feet to bring in that support. Same thing goes for the arms. If they're sort of dangling with the elbows not quite reaching the ground, then you might prop them up with an extra pillow or blanket. Or if it feels like too much stretch for the chest, you can prop up your arms as well with pillows or blankets. Anytime the face is up to the sky, you might also bring on an eye pillow or an eye mask if that feels soothing for you tonight. So as you take your time to settle in, know that if your lower back is uncomfortable, you can always do a little wiggle to smooth out the back, or you can even place a little bit of a rolled blanket between your lower back and the bolster. Taking your time to settle yourself into comfort and ease. Knowing that in our restorative practice, it can take a little bit of time to find just the right place of comfort and just the right amount of support, and it's worth that time investment. So the extra time it might take to reach for an extra prop is worth it so that you can settle in and be fully supported. So once you find that place of stillness and ease, come back to the feeling of your body breathing without effort. Awareness settling into the heart space, the area around the chest, the yogic heart center. As we welcome a new cycle with this new moon, this gentle supported back bend invites a gentle feeling of renewal, a gentle quality of spaciousness, that there's room here to breathe and to be as you are. So allow yourself to be held here, safe and supported. And also notice the feeling of spaciousness around you. And the gentle pulsation of renewal. The gentle calling of your inner essence, calling forth from within. And as you rest here, notice, where's your mind? And can you call your mind back to the breath and let the breath touch the heart? A natural state of connection, a natural state of yoga, of union. Resting here just a little bit longer as you allow yourself to go even deeper into the stillness and into the peace. Om Chandraya Namaha. I call upon the forces of the moon to guide me to my true nature, to reveal my essence. And for the next few cycles of breath, I invite you to bring this mantra in to the breath cycle, resonating the sound Om internally with your inhalation, the sound Chandraya internally at the space at the top of the inhale, and the resonant sound Namaha on the exhalation. Letting the space at the end of the exhale be stillness and silence. So just in your own time, in your own way, resonating the sound Om on your inhale, internally, Chandraya at the top of the inhale, in the kumbhak, in the space between. Namaha flows out on your exhale, and then dwell within the silence and the stillness before the next round begins. Finding this mantra internally, just another few rounds. And from this position, I invite you to take your time to consider if you would like to move into a traditional Shavasana, or if you'd like to stay where you are for Shavasana. So we're moving into the final dive into stillness of the practice. You might stay where you are if it's very comfortable. And if you have any little inkling within to make a shift to a more traditional Shavasana, then just very, very gently let yourself roll to one side and press up. And very slowly and with intention, with mindfulness and heartfulness, you might move your props off to the side, like the blocks or anything extra. So you can once again set yourself up for the most comfortable expression of Shavasana for you in your body tonight. So again, you might just choose to stay where you are. You might find yourself ready to shift into a traditional Shavasana. If you do have two bolsters and you're finding a traditional Shavasana, you can also try having two bolsters, so it becomes almost like an inversion where the entire length of the lower legs are supported by two bolsters. Just an option if that feels like a nourishing position for you, or you might have one bolster or pillow underneath the knees, perhaps reaching for an extra blanket to bring over top of the body, and an eye pillow or covering over your eyes. Knowing there's no rush at all as you take your time to make your way into your final relaxation. to bring yourself into an even deeper state of stillness and an even deeper state of peace. Taking all the time you need to bring in these final adjustments as you land into the home of your body and the temple of stillness for an even deeper rest. So welcome the waves of your breath to flow in and out. Noticing that the body breathes without effort. And the mind is naturally relaxing even more. And just for the next few breaths, intentionally lengthen your exhale just a little bit longer than your inhale. Feeling yourself softening and letting go even more. And as you relax and let go with every breath out, the body and the mind are unwinding, taking rest, taking refuge within the stillness. As you trust that there's nothing you need to do, but relax and let go in the most natural and effortless way. To feel the beautiful waves of breath, soothing the nervous system, clearing the mind, and restoring your entire being. Allowing yourself to relax, to surrender and let go. Held within the stillness. Nourished. Chandraya Namaha. Om 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 Chandraya Namaha. O beloved moon, I call upon you, your beautiful cycles, to guide me home. Moon, thank you. I love you. And as you're resting here within this sanctuary of the self, at home here in the stillness, begin to notice the inhalation like a rising sun, like a waxing moon, the return of the light of your awareness. Trust that you will carry this state of peace, this state of stillness with you. into this next lunar cycle. The seeds have been planted. So as you're noticing the breath and noticing yourself resting here, know that you can follow your own wisdom to come up from your final relaxation when you are ready. If you know that you need a little longer rest or you'd like to stay here a little longer, you can follow that, honor that. If you know that it's time to reawaken or you'd like to transition with me, you can start to slowly, gently bring a little bit of movement back, to wiggle your fingers and your toes, to take maybe a little gentle stretch. And as you're emerging, perhaps you'd like to roll to one side and be in a fetal pose for a few breaths, the original pose of rebirth. There's no rush. You may guide yourself up to seated when you're ready and join me in holding the space of the practice together just a little bit longer. But again, if you know that you need to linger where you are, you're welcome to. And if you're joining me upright, we'll just take a few moments to sit with ourselves, to sit with the effects of the practice, perhaps closing down your eyes and coming home to the breath, welcoming the feeling of the spine and the gentle alertness in the spine. Bringing in a feeling of gratitude for yourself, for taking this time, and for one another, for sharing in the space, for holding the space together. And we offer our practice up as an offering, a vibration of peace for all beings, a ripple effect to become a wave of peace for all beings and for the planet. And let's bring our hands together at the heart, palm to palm. And let's close with 3 ohms and 3 shantis for peace. You're welcome to join me or just receive the sound. Taking a breath in. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings live in peace. May our lives contribute to this peace for all. Hari Om and Namaste. So many blessings to all of you and much gratitude for your presence. Just want to encourage you to honor the inner quiet that you've cultivated, and you might even like to take a few minutes in your journal, perhaps journaling around what are you letting go of from this last cycle, and what are you then bringing in, your intentions, what are you stepping into and calling in. And thank you all so, so much.